Welcome back to one of our weekly shorts on using Make It Personal. Today we're going to look at some of the advanced designer features. So this gets us into our advanced designer. We have our design canvas in the middle. Previously we already went over some of the controls, so we're going to jump into more of the features of the advanced designer. Now you can think of all the information as being in boxes, whether it's the heading, or let's say a name field, or an obit, even a picture. So they have boxes. You can do multiple selects by simply left clicking, holding, and dragging, and you can select multiple items, or you can do the Windows trick and you can hold Control on the keyboard and select multiples. So we want to talk about the add case info and add item. The add case info lets you simply drop in any information or make changes to the information in the case simply by coming over here, changing info. Let's say you didn't want the middle name in there. So we take that away and we come back over here and look at our design, and now the middle name is gone. Vice versa, you can go ahead and put it back and it drops it right back into the design. Another nice feature is if you're missing any information or you want to add anything new, simply come into the Manage Case Info and you can add any of this information into the design that you want. Let's say we want place of birth. We hover over, simply left click the mouse, it drops it right in the middle. All of our information fields, you can click on them, it'll drop them right to the middle of the design. You simply take it, drag it to wherever you want it and place it. Now let's click back to designer. That takes you back to your tool set. The same holds true with add items. You can click on add items, add any text boxes or field labels or headings or blank lines that you want to add into the design itself. It's just that easy. You click on them, it puts them right in the middle. Now we have the design elements as well. You can pick a category under design elements of some of our predetermined artwork that we do have available. Now not every category here has information in it. Once you learn where everything is, then you can figure out where your design elements are. You simply find them. After the rain, we want the stanza number 4. And we click and add it to the design. The same holds true with text items. You simply pick a category. Let's say we're looking for verses in this case, and let's say I want the 23rd Psalm. I can drop it in. Now it looks a little messy, and what we can do, I will go ahead and highlight the obituary, and I will simply click the delete or even the red X in the top corner. That'll take that out of our design. So we can move this in its place, and the name, we can take it out. And now we have this middle kind of customized with two different items, one design element, one text item. Thing to remember about design elements, they are images, so you cannot modify them as far as the way that they look. You can change the size and the placement and the rotation, but not the text itself. With a text item, we have our tools. You can go ahead and change your font, the actual font itself. Let's say we wanted Courier New, and we have the warning because that little caution symbol, because the text doesn't fit in the box. So you can make your physical box size larger, and now we can change the font size. We could have gone and made it smaller if we wish to, make it larger, and we still get the error. We still get the caution symbol because it's too big for the box. And as well as changing the font and the size, you have the ability to change your font color. We have the ability for you to change it with RGB if you know your RGB code for that specific color, or you can pick from one of our predetermined colors here. Text, you can also set it to bold, you can set it to italic, And in this case, because it's a text box, you can actually set the underline. If in fact you do have an image, no text options, or if you have one of the predetermined fields, you don't have the underline option. That is because the way that it's set up, only a text box has that underline option. If you want to underline one of these other fields, that's when you have to use the field underline to the right. And you can see that just turned it on. And with our text options, we also have the alignment options. If I highlight the obit again, I can do left justify, center, right, or block style. We'll set it to centered. We also have vertical, you can go top, middle, bottom. Next we're going to get into the alignment tool, which is the next one over. And for demonstration, I'm going to highlight. I just did the drag, the left click. I'm going to delete all of those. This is just for testing. I'm going to delete that fella too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab just a couple of these, move them over here. Now I'm going to resize these. Let's say you had boxes, different sizes. I resized those because we want to look at alignments. So I changed the size, I changed the position. Now if you highlight more than one, you can go ahead and say align left. This is furthest. So furthest to the left, you have the furthest to the right, and you have furthest to the top, furthest to the bottom. It's the bottom edge. Let me click out of it, click on one of them, drag it away. And then we have our distribution tools as well. So we can take these two boxes and we can set them to the same width and we can set them to the same height. And now they match up perfectly. We click out of it, move them individually. Let's go ahead and grab another one of these boxes and we'll join it in with the rest, tell them all the same width and all the same height. See how it was always the widest and the tallest. It's always absolute. The tallest, the widest, just as we have furthest to the left, furthest to the right, so on and so forth. Now with these three, let's look back at another key distribution tool here, which is really handy. We have these three boxes of information. We can auto distribute them. So I want to auto distribute these vertically. You can remove empty fields if you wish. We don't have any. You can also do horizontally, but I want to do vertically. Your group spacing, 1 point's fine for this. Auto distribute. And now we have a box that you can lengthen or make taller, make shorter. It evenly distributes those three boxes. And now you have a nice perfect column. The next tool that we want to look at is our photo tools. Click the little, I call it the little penny symbol. Looks like a little penny. But those are our photo tools. For this one, let's go to panel number 2. It has more of a collage style to it. Let's look at some of our photo tools. We're going to go ahead and zoom in so that we can see things a little bit better. And we're going to get rid of this design element here. So let's look at a photo individually first. We still have the option of the little pencil symbol here to the top right, and that lets you adjust your brightness and your contrast. Keep in mind they do kind of work hand in hand. Usually if you go down in one, you go up with the other. And then we have our cropping mask window here. Now the cropping mask, you can change the size, but it keeps the aspect ratio here, height versus width. So you can crop and mask off your focus of the photo, and we click save. Now if you want to physically change the aspect ratio of the window, you do it out here in the design. Then we go back into the pencil icon, and now see our mask, now we see that our masking window has changed to reflect that size. We'll go ahead and click save. Now over to the left, we'll look at some of these other features. We have, well, let me make this photo a little bit bigger. There. Okay, so we have our border here. We can turn that off and on by clicking it, adjusting the thickness. When we go to 0, that is no border. You can see that there. Click on the photo again. We can turn the border back up, the thickness of it, and you can choose color once again by your RGB numbers if you do know those, or you can choose one of our predetermined colors that we do have. It's easy as that to change the color. Let's highlight the photo again. Now the drop shadow. This is a nice handy feature that kind of sets the pictures apart. If you don't do anything, at least throw in a drop shadow. You can see that effect there. Highlight the photo again, turn on the drop shadow, and it adds that nice shadowing effect to the bottom to the right. Now the feather vignette, let us turn off the border to look at that one. Make it a little bit easier. With the feather vignette, it's the amount of feather where it feathers out from the feathers from the outside edge. So you turn that up, and it gives it a softer edge from the out moving in. Let's also turn off the drop shadow so we can see that a little bit better. There, that's a better example. So you can see how the feather, it can give it that little bit softer edge to it. Now with your opacity tool, that's the good one for adding like a ghosting or a watermark effect. If you turn your opacity meter down, it creates this ghosting effect. And what what a few places will do, they'll actually take this photo, or they'll take a photo, and in a register book you'll have your relatives and friends pages, and they will take this and add it as a ghosting effect to the behind the page. Basically, they'll add the ghosting effect behind the lines that the family and friends are signing. Let's go ahead and shrink this back down. To talk about our cropping, let's go ahead and turn the opacity back up and turn the feather back down so we can see this better. With the cropping, we have cropped a rectangle, cropped a rounded rectangle, gives us that rounded edge look, and then of course cropped to oval. And of course you can change the shape by changing the box itself. Now keep in mind, see how we changed the actual shape of the box? It can throw off that masking a little bit. So you come back into your pencil, and then you reset your masking and focus. Next thing we have to look at is the layering effect. So let's zoom back out and see how we can take these photos and we can move them together. Well, some of them overlap others and some don't. That's where you have your layering effect here. The dark blue box represents the photo that's within this placeholder. So instead of having this one on front of the others, you can send this to the back. Whereas you can take this one, send it to the back. You can take this one, send it to the back. So you get this layering effect. If you see that right there, I'll click out of it. And of course the last thing that we have is the eye bubble that Linda calls it. You have your selected case, selected product, and your series and template. Let's go ahead and save this. And that concludes our look at the Advanced Designer.